Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about a really important topic, which is emails. These days, everybody has emails. In fact, I think I have probably over, 8,000 emails in my inbox that I haven't deleted yet, but it's something we all have to deal with. And eventually you will probably have to either write or respond to an email in English. So in today's video, I want to talk about 3 ways you can improve writing your emails in English. Specifically, we're going to talk about subject lines, introductions, or being very direct, and polite language. Ready? Let's do it. Nowadays, everybody gets a lot of emails. So for this reason, it's really important to be specific with your subject lines. I can't tell you how many emails I got when I was working as a professor that just said the name of the student, or this is, for example, this is Gabriella Sosnowski. This is not a good subject line. It's not specific and it doesn't prepare the reader to expect what's coming. It's important to use subject lines that are actually about what you will be discussing. And there are 3 really good expressions you can use to do this, such as about, concerning, or regarding. For example, about my appointment, or about rescheduling my appointment, or concerning my appointment, or regarding my appointment. These are really common and pretty professional expressions you can use for any situation. The second best thing you can do when writing emails in English is to get straight to the point. Americans and most English speakers, whether they're British or Canadian, it doesn't really matter, they appreciate directness. We want to know what the problem is or what the issue is right away. That being said, there are 2 general rules you can follow before you start talking about the topic. For example, you will always want to address the person you're speaking to. You can use dear, for example, dear Miss Sosnowski, or you can use the title of the person, dear teacher, for example, or dear professor. If you don't know the person you're writing to, if you don't know their name, you can simply say to whom it may concern. That's a pretty typical expression if you're not sure who you're actually writing to. In general, though, if you do have to write an email, it's a good idea to try and find the name of the person who will be receiving the email. It sounds a little bit more polite than saying to whom it may concern. And before you mention the problem or the idea, it's good to start with a little tiny warm-up. And this can be a simple sentence like, I hope this email finds you well, which is pretty much what everybody uses, but it doesn't have to be that. You could say something like, I hope you're doing well, or depending on the time of year, you might say something like, I hope you're enjoying your vacation, or I hope you're having a good holiday, etc., etc. Then, once you address them and once you do the little warm-up, you should say exactly what it is you want or why you are writing to this person. And there are a couple good phrases you can use to do that. For example, you could say something like, I'm writing to you about my appointment, or I'm writing to you to discuss my appointment. I'm writing to you in regards to my appointment, or I'm writing to you to inform you that I need to cancel my appointment. Maybe you have written this person because you have a question. In that case, you might say something like, I'm reaching out to you to ask about X, or I'm reaching out because I heard that X. These are really good phrases to use in emails, and they get straight to the point without wasting a lot of your time or your reader's time. Number 3 is polite language. No matter who you're talking to, a friend, a colleague, a boss, a potential boss, you should always use polite language in emails. Polite language in English usually consists of 2 things. One is the use of the progressive tense, especially with thinking verbs or desiring verbs like wanting, thinking, hoping. And the second is using modals, words like would or could. Here are some examples. In the blue column, we have standard English, maybe the main idea of what you'd want to say, And in the yellow, we have a more polite way of saying it that would sound especially good in an email. So for example, if you want to tell someone that you won't be at a meeting, instead of saying, I won't be at this meeting, it might sound nicer to use a progressive tense, saying, I'm not going to be able to come to the meeting. Instead of saying to your boss, I need off from work this Friday, you might say something like, I was hoping that I could have Friday off this week. In this case, you're using both a progressive and a modal. And then lastly, if you're asking a question, for example, can you send me the report? Instead of saying that, you might simply say, could you send me the report? Or I'm wondering if you could send me the report. Usually a progressive or a modal is sufficient, but in the case of mixing them together and using two, it sounds even more polite if you're able to combine those ideas. Are you ready to practice? I have a practice situation for you, and you might want to pause the video because it's probably going to take you at least 5 to 10 minutes to write this. So feel free to pause it and then to compare it with mine, or you can skip this assignment and move straight to my version of what I would say in this situation. So here's the situation. You have an interview scheduled for February 27th at 3 p.m. with a recruiter named Ben Albagees. However, you realize that you made a mistake when you were scheduling this appointment and you actually have to bring your dog to the vet that day. You need to write this recruiter and explain to him that you will not be able to attend your interview and ask him if you can reschedule it to a later time. Now remember to include a subject line when you write your pretend email. Ready? Pause this here or jump ahead to see my email. Let's work on this. So for a subject line, I might write something like concerning interview on 2/27. Now remember, in the United States anyway, we always put the month before the day when we abbreviate the date. So that's why it looks like that here. And then I might say something like, hello, Mr. Albagees, because I know his name. Also, let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Huge size. That will work. Hello, Mr. Albagees. I hope this, oh, see, look, it's used so much, it fills it in for me. Finds you well. My name is Gabriella Cisnowski. Here, I'm telling the person who I am because we don't really have an established relationship. This person has most likely never met me before and might just know me as a name, so therefore I need to identify myself. And I have an interview scheduled with you on February 27th at 3 p.m. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to make this time due to a schedule conflict. Notice how I'm not giving them too much information. I don't need to say because I need to take my dog to the vet. This person probably doesn't care. So I'm just using this nice little excuse, a schedule conflict. Would it be, bless you, my cat just sneezed. Would it be possible to reschedule our interview to a later date? Now I'm going to thank this person for their time. Thank you so much for your time, and because they may reschedule with me, I'm going to also thank them for their flexibility or being available to do so. Flexibility. I am sorry So since something has gone wrong here and you need to change it and it's your fault, it's always a good thing to apologize. So one way you could do that is by saying, I'm sorry for any inconvenience this may have caused. Best, Gabriella. And that's it. Okay, everybody. So remember, if you want to write strong emails in English, you have to include these 3 things. First, you need specific subject lines. Second, you need to be as direct as you can. And third, you need to use polite language, specifically by using the progressive tense and modals. I hope you found this video useful, and I will see you so soon. Bye, everybody.